here I am, out on the streets with my head in my hands. I've got no plans, only to see you again. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I like being kicked on the ground. I'm not that strong, but then I come to my senses. Yeah, I'm coming. You can feel my power, and I feel what is real when she feels me. And I feel what is real when she feels me. And I feel. Don't be afraid. Don't do that man with the scar on his face. It's a charade. It's just the way you've been living. Yeah! I'm coming. You can feel my power. And I feel what is real when she feels me. And I feel what is real when she feels me. Yeah. And I feel what is real when she feels me. And I feel what is real when she feels me. Yeah. And I feel what is real when she feels me. And I feel what is real when she feels me. Yeah. And I feel.
Hi everyone, Dan here, and I just wanted to put a little snippet about AstroWorld and what we do because I want to start getting the word out because I think it's becoming more and more of a giant community, and I want to get the word out to some other people. So what we do at AstroWorld is We hold astrophotography chats on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we just talk astrophotography. Wednesday's more of a techie kind of advanced intermediate, and Fridays is more of a newbie kind of thing. So if you want to check us out, and if you want to, hang out with some semi-decent people that like to go off the rails a little bit and have fun while they're doing it, come check us out at AstroWorldWeb.com, and you can check out the schedule, and you can sign up for all the free giveaways that we do. We just gave away an Eagle 4 Pro, an Optolong filter kit, Charles Brackenstein's books, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come to AstroWorldWeb.com, hang out with us, have a good time, and as always, remember to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Where did my color go? Got your head in the sand. You can't be in control using a powerful hand. I wanna be you, I wanna see you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. All right. Cat learns to ring a bell. Rat gets free from the maze. We can be taught to love. We've got to learn new ways. I wanna see you, I wanna be you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. I wanna be, I wanna see, don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. Push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hide a little color, it's black and white and blue. Yeah, black and white and blue. You're gonna black and white on the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the throwing my telescope now. Yeah, what's wrong with this thing?
Another lost Lone Ranger. Can I break this spell? If I do one thing right, do I make you two things wrong? If I want to stand by the line, I will always take the fall. If I just do left, I can hear from the right. I sleep all day long, and I'm dreaming through the night. I've seen a lot of bankers, and I've seen a lot of cops. I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I've felt a lot of women who refuse to understand. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money and whatever spring. And I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Making such a fuss, and I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. 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 Guitar Players Planet.
Are you ready for the next solar eclipse? October, annular eclipse. Up. Don't let your glasses fall off when there's a solar eclipse. You might hurt yourself. Let's try that again. Are you ready for the next solar eclipse? Are you ready for it? October 14th this year is an annular eclipse, followed by April, another total solar eclipse, and you can get your own branded AstroWorld telescope solar glasses made by American Paper Optics today on the website, astroworldtelescopes.com, or give me a call, 516-273-3771, and we can get you a set of 4 of these for $9.99. Come on down again, AstroWorldTelescopes.com, and keep imaging as long as you don't have a solar shade on. Keep educating in space, guys. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Seems to me that I have lost my friend. Got the sunset off the highway again. Then I get lost on a long summer day. I must go back before it's too late. You're afraid you're feeling alone. Time and space can never unfold. The holidays can ring in your fear. The ghostly embrace can only mean tears. And I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to lands of blue. Oh, na 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 na. Sitting at the lake, I'm feeling confused, but I had my guitar, so I played Mr. Blues. But I'm afraid, the world might be true, that I might never be back Seems to me that I've lost my friend.
It's gotta mean something. It's gotta.
So here I am, out on the streets with my head in my hands. I've got no plans, only to see you again. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I like being kicked on the ground. I'm not that strong, but then I come to my senses. Yeah! I'm coming, you can feel my power. And I feel what is real when she feels me. And I feel what is real when she feels me. And I feel
to that man with the scar on his face. It's a charade. It's just the way you've been living. Yeah! I'm coming. You can feel my power. And I feel what is real when she feels it. And I feel what is real when she feels it. Yeah. And I feel what is real when she feels it. And I feel what is real when she feels me. Yeah. And I feel what is real when she feels me. And I feel what is real when she feels me. Yeah. And I
Hi everyone, Dan here, and I just wanted to put a little snippet about AstroWorld and what we do because I want to start getting the word out because I think it's becoming more and more of a giant community, and I want to get the word out to some other people. So what we do at AstroWorld is we hold astrophotography chats on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. and Fridays at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And we just talk astrophotography. Wednesday's more of a techie kind of advanced intermediate, and Fridays is more of a newbie kind of thing. So if you want to check us out, and if you want to, hang out with some semi-decent people that like to go off the rails a little bit and have fun while they're doing it, come check us out at astroworldweb.com, and you can check out the schedule, and you can sign up for all the free giveaways that we do. We just gave away an Eagle 4 Pro, an Optilong filter kit, Charles Brackenstein's books, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So come to astroworldweb.com, hang out with us, have a good time, and as always, remember to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
All right. my color go. Got your head in the sand. You can't be in control, using a powerful hand. I wanna be you, I wanna see you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. You're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hot little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue, yeah. All right. Cat learns to ring a bell. Rat gets free from the maze. We can be taught to love. We've got to learn a new way. I wanna see you, I wanna be you. Don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late. Yeah, you're gonna push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shadows. Push me to the edge, hot little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue. I wanna be, I wanna see, don't taste the kisses of hate. Don't try to tell me, don't try to sell me, don't try to say it's too late, late. Push me to the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hot little color, it's black and white and blue. Yeah, black and white and blue. You're going black and white on the edge, back me in a corner, making me stand in your shoes. Push me to the edge, hot little color, it's black and white and blue. Black and white and blue. What the hell's wrong with my telescope now? Damn, what's wrong with this thing?
The lost Lone Ranger, can I break this spell? You want things right, do I make you do things wrong? If I want to stand my line, I will always take the fall. If I just do And I've seen a lot of cops, I've seen a lot of lawyers pull out all of the stops. I've seen a lot of children with their parents in their hands. I felt a lot of women who refuse to understand. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get around.
Hey, good evening, everybody. What's happening?
Hello,
Oh,
hello,
yeah.
hello.
What's that?
Hello, 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 everybody.
Hello,
Yes,
hello,
hello,
hello.
hello.
And we got Adrian Bradley here tonight with us and hanging out with us. So welcome, Adrian. Great to have you again. This is
Yeah.
your second time on with us.
Yeah, and I had a considerably better internet connection, so I might sound like Mad Max during this whole presentation. All you guys out at AstroWorld, just deal with me. My camera worked better.
I hope you don't get an Australian accent because that would be a little interesting. So if you're Mad Max, sound like Mel Gibson.
I'll try not to do it, Mike.
There you go. now that's a knife. So
Knife. I don't have any of my knife there.
then
I can't bowl with 2 hands either.
there you go. Awesome. So we're here tonight with Adrian Bradley, and it's gonna be great. Adrian's gonna be talking to us about a bunch of cool stuff tonight about his nightscaping and wide field and getting that good sharp picture and knowing how you got that sharp picture. It's going to be a really, really cool time. Adrian always is a wealth of information to kind of hang out and talk with us. So before we get into that, let's talk about the sponsors real quick because Eric, did we do? I don't think we did Masters of Pix Insight class last week. I think we left before we did it.
Yeah, we did. We did. We were so wiped out, dude. We were so exhausted.
So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna give away one tonight and one next Friday. So
there you go.
We'll do two. We'll do two this week. So if you haven't gotten on the website and signed up for the giveaways, go to astroweb.com. You'll have a time to do it, and you can sign on to the giveaways that you want. So, and tonight is the Masters of Pix Insight free class, which they actually just had yesterday. It was yesterday. And so you missed it this month. That's okay. They do it every month. They've been doing it since right after COVID started, like 2020. They started doing it. So it's been 3 or 4 years now, and they're getting ready for a good anniversary. So it's really cool. So get on the website, go sign on for the giveaways. So let me see if I can get the sponsors up here because I've been messing around so much with everybody's inputs. I don't know where anything is anymore. So here we go. And let's get rid of this. Awesome. So for those of you that don't know about the show and what we do, welcome to the show. And we're so small, and Eric's not there, and Adrian's not there, and things are a little messed up today because ever since I had that computer crash, I mean, things have gotten a little messed up. So we'll make me a little bit bigger. We'll add Eric in there, and we'll do some stuff on the fly here. So for those of you that don't know what's going on, we do giveaways. We do giveaways every week. Some from Optalong, some from Masters of Pix Insight, some from our retail store at AstroWorldTelescopes.com. So if you want to be involved in any of the giveaways, go to astroweb.com and you can sign on and go into giveaways, and you can sign on to whichever one you want. So we do have sponsors. So thank you to everybody that's a sponsor, including, as you see on the screen, Prima Lucha Lab and Optalong. Thank you so much for being at our Red Giant level. Followed by Masters of Pix Insight and IP for AP. We give away a free Masters of Pix Insight workshop almost every Friday night, except last Friday night. And so now we're going to be doing one for the one we missed last Friday. We'll do that tonight, and we'll still give one away this Friday. Plus, we give away once per month a free IP4AP yearly subscription. Another great tutorial for Photoshop and for PixInsight. So definitely check them out if you haven't checked them out yet. And of course, our company, AstroWorld Telescopes, we are a retailer of pretty much all at this point of your favorite Astro Gear, Astro Gear vendors. So if you need anything, come check us out or give me a call or an email and see what we got in stock. So thank you for all the support for everybody that's been supporting us this year. If you weren't here last week we had Maxi Falieres, astrophotography to the max, a global star party presenter and personal friend of mine from Argentina, gave us some really good insight on the astrophotography that he does. So if you haven't seen that, go on our YouTube channel, subscribe, and check it out. Tonight, we got the Nightscaper. Adrian Bradley is here tonight. Going to show us a lot of his. He was here last year, had a wealth of information, and I'm sure he's going to update us on what he's been doing over the past 12 months. So it's pretty cool. On February 7th.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. So
hold on. We're not done yet. So,
okay.
So actually, you know what I'll do is, you know what the whole thing was? You're probably still seeing the 3-up, I think. And yeah, you are. So I'm gonna do output, and now you'll be able to see the live. You see the live now?
Okay. Yep. I see
there you
the
go.
live.
All right. So February, we got a bunch of guests coming up throughout pretty much most of February. Ron Breacher, February 7th, is going to come and hang out with us and talk to us about some new PixInsight deals and everything. And then we got Greg Crinklaw coming in from Sky Tools. A lot of people wanted some more information about Sky Tools and what it could do for their imaging and how they could use it. So I gave him an email, and he's more than happy to come on and give us a rundown. So a lot of cool stuff. Followed by February 21st, we have Bob Denny coming on, and it's going to give us a rundown on ASCOM Alpaca, who last year he was here. It hasn't really caught on over the last year and a half since he's been here. It's kind of caught on, and a lot of dealers are jumping on board with this wireless ASCOM for the most part, and he's going to be talking to us about how stable it is and what we can do. I didn't get a chance to put it up, but sometime between February 21st and March 14th, we will be having, and I'm doing this with my fingers crossed, we are going to be having, oh man, shoot, what's his name, Eric? God, I forgot his name.
Babula?
No.
Oh, yes.
Oh
just
man,
a minute.
I didn't put the screen up, and I forgot his name, and I feel so bad.
No, I got it. It is Mr. Shoot. You messed me up too. Oh, Mr. Alan Friedman.
Alan Freeman, that's right, Alan Freeman. Thank you. The solar guru that we both met last year at NEAF, and we figured with the solar eclipse coming up in April, that it would be a good idea to get someone to show us what they do when they image a solar eclipse. So who better than Alan Freeman?
Not just a solar eclipse, but just solar imaging.
Just solar in general. Yeah, but
we've had a lot of conversation about it.
Yep. Well, yeah, if you, yeah, I know, no bueno. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I've been doing a lot today. I apologize, everybody. And Mabula is also coming on. He keeps on promising me if 2.0 ever comes out, he'll be on. And go check us out on our other social media platforms. Definitely check us out there. Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. Go on our Discord channel. Hit us up there and do that. And I think it's this one. Is it this one? No, it's this one. There we go. There we go. And yeah, so also don't forget, we can't forget all of our members from Patreon and YouTube. Thank you so much for your donation to the show. It helps us get a lot of stuff, including helps us with NEEF because we got a table at NEEF for AstroWorld TV and a table at NEEF for AstroWorld telescopes. So the membership actually helps pay for the AstroWorld TV version of it. So thank you so much. It also helps us get more giveaways to give away. So I mean that's also always a lot of stuff. So thank you so much for all the. And if you're not a member of us on Patreon, feel free to hit us up on Patreon at AstroWorld TV. So thank you so much for dealing with me for the last 5 minutes or so, and we are back.
And before we do anything else,
Absolutely.
everybody on in the chat right now, in Facebook, in YouTube, in Twitch, and wherever you guys are catching us out right now, do us a huge favor. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up if you're on YouTube. Share the show, share what we're doing, share the public, on Facebook, everything. We want to be able to grow our community. That means bringing more and more people in, and we can only really do that by you guys just simply doing one free thing for us, either giving us a like and a thumbs up, or just sharing the show. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. So we really appreciate that. Because it shows you guys appreciate what we're doing, and we can continue to grow the show and get more and more members. So
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah. So Adrian, welcome to the show. I think I need to squash you a little bit more. I think we're a little skinny on this one, maybe, but
but
I think
if
we're
you
good.
can imagine my real weight, I'm punched in a little more. This would actually be ideal for me. I may not have some of the issues. I've tried to do some hiking to correct that, but and there's plenty of places to hike in Michigan, as you'll see from some of the images I'll share. When Dan asked me to come on, I said, well, what am I going to talk about? And I could talk football, but I don't know that our target audience cares that our state has two football teams. One won the national championship and the other one's trying to win a Super Bowl, but they have to go through San Francisco first.
Yeah,
that's it. You got to go through San Fran first.
We got
to go through.
And San Fran is very experienced at football. But so I picked two things. They are, one, how do you know if you've got a sharp moon image if you're like me and you like to handheld shoot the moon with a wildlife setup, a camera, and like a 600 millimeter lens? There are actually ways to tell certain features on the moon that look sharper if you get focused with just your camera, not even using a tripod. And detail, along the lines of detail, when doing images, nightscapes and things like that, there's a certain level of detail that that imagers want. Something that I hope to talk about is when you're doing your imaging, think about target audience. What do you want to present? You don't have to always have the most beautiful looking Milky Way and the most beautiful looking foreground if you don't have beautiful looking foreground money.
Yeah.
So if you just go somewhere that's dark and you take what you've got in front of you, you can produce some beautiful nightscapes just by making sure focus is on both of your sky. If you've got a nice dark sky, and if you've got good focus on your surrounding area, you can produce a pretty good picture. And most importantly, anything you take of something in space, you can actually recognize what you're seeing there. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to try and share the screen. Let's see, toggle screen sharing. I'm just going to share the entire screen and
here we go.
Hide. All right. And I'm going to wing it with a couple of the images that you see here that highlight, just trying to get detail. I'm out somewhere, it's cloudy. We know that it's pretty dark out here, but it's cloudy and it's hazy. So as Orion rises, you barely see this part of the Milky Way. You barely see any of these other stars. This is an example of taking an image the way that your own eyes see it. So you're basically looking at what I was looking at before I took the long exposure image. And because the park is closed and I walked around the gate, I wasn't going to stay there long to have somebody come and say, hey, why you're here. Sometimes doing your nightscape imaging, you have to be brave enough or crazy enough to decide if you're going to walk around a gate, get an image of this beach, which is this is Saginaw Bay where we're looking out, get your image and come back out.
So,
Now,
let me ask you a question about that one image real quick.
Yeah.
So it literally looks like the sunset stops like halfway through the picture.
Right here.
So you got the sunset, and then halfway through the picture, it kind of like you see just clear sky. It's like the clouds and everything just end on the left, right in the middle of the picture.
So this illusion that looks like a sunset is actually the glow of light from towns, mostly Canadian towns that are across this bay. The bay, if you try and swim to those towns, you probably won't make it halfway unless you're, strong. And of course, if the water's cold, you have other problems like hypothermia.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
that light reaches so far and it's so bright, it creates that effect especially in long exposure images. So like this image right here, there's a ton of things going on. There's actually there's a comet, and I don't even remember where I put it, but the comet is there's one of the comets from a couple of years ago that was visible in this shot if you zoomed in. This is Lake Huron. Where we were just looking is way off to the north and to the west. But when you're doing long exposures, there's just no telling what you'll get but if your focus is good, you'll pick out more stars. This should pop in. Yeah. If you look at the way the stars look, even on a cloudy day, you practice and you set your settings for your camera. And I always use manual focus. Nice round stars are what I always go for. And this was an example of that. I've got some images that have got better, maybe better objects in space, but the stars aren't as nice and as round. One way that you try and make your images consistent is to get a setting, either mark it on your camera lens or just remember where it is. Sometimes you can reset by focusing on a bright star or planet, get it as small as you can get it, and then take a couple of test shots, like a test 30-second shot. One thing I was going to talk about today, getting realistic views of the moon. If you were at this lighthouse this cloudy day and you were looking up and you'd see the moon, it looks kind of just exactly like this. And then you can kind of tell, I don't know if it comes out in your camera, but you can also see a flaw in my composite shot. There's a little bitty line over here where I combined focus on the moon with focus on the tower, which you can see the 5 and the 7 here, and then you can see the trees. So the better you get at composite photos, the goal isn't the composite photo thing that I know a lot of you on the internet. It's not real because it's a composite. You can throw whatever you want. This is what I was seeing, and my goal was to capture exactly what I was seeing. It was windy as well, so branches, tree branches are very tough, and you'll see a few shots where I'm dealing with tree branches. This wasn't one of them. This one was just a simple shot here. We'll go on this one. And so some of you are looking at it and saying, now, I thought this guy took really cool nightscape. Some of you might think that these double halo that I caught of the moon, the way it looks if you're looking up at it, and then you got Taurus here, you might think that's pretty cool. I know David Eicher really liked this photo. He's from, as we know, Astronomy Magazine. Yep. So what you're seeing up front here is there are certain techniques that you use to capture things in the night sky. It may not be the eye candy, but with some good focus, you've got some moon detail here. This is where you try to context replace the glow from taking one of the shots and replace it with a realistic looking view of the moon. It's something I'm always working on, but what you've got is moonshine and you've got stars coming through. This may come in handy later. Say I decide to do, another moonrise, or I want to have the moon in the sky, or I want to do aurora, and the moon happens to be setting to the northwest. These techniques will add up, and I'm able to use them to create some interesting shots. So
speaking of aurora, there was one of those images of the aurora.
This one? No, this is a ton of light pollution, but we'll get to the aurora.
Okay, no problem.
Oh no, we can. If you are a night photographer and you also happen to be a DJ, you might get lucky. So again, you take whatever camera you've got with you, you focus, you try and get your star as sharp as you can, and you see something bubbling up over here, and you're DJing for your friend's daughter's wedding. You want things as sharp as you can get it, because you want your resulting image. Will it be perfect? Probably not. And you can, if you want to, the closer to perfection you get, the better. But the idea is, what did you capture? Did you capture all the detail? This is a distant aurora on the horizon. There's colors. You've got the telltale sign of green. You've got those spires. You take some more images. Wow. And then you decide, okay, let's get the bride and groom out. And the only way you're going to get a good shot of the bride and groom is composite images. This is becoming more of a talk on why imagers do composite images. And for those of you out there who, think that composite images are cheating, no, composite images are what you do when you want to put two different types of exposures together, and the 2 and 2 create something that you saw, or bring out some detail that you might not be able to see, like all of the colors in this aurora were not as visible. And as it was waning, we brought out the bride and groom, had them stand for 15 seconds, and we then took a 2-minute exposure to capture the colors of the aurora in the back. This is why you've got blown out lights here, so if the opportunity were to come next time, we figure out how to take an image without blowing the lights out, or we do a composite and turn your ISO down so that these lights aren't as bad, or do something with shutter, do something with your aperture, stop things down. So
I kind of like it with the blown out lights.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. People have preferences, and the biggest thing is, you're an imager, you've got aurora going, you've got two people standing here. Are you able to get them reasonably sharp and still get this aurora? Try it sometime. have someone stand there, a lot of really good imagers are going to figure out either a way to do it composite, or they're going to stand still for a very long time
A very long time.
and
Yeah.
manage to pull that off. And it can be so when you want to do a human nature type of shot like this, and you get so many stars that your asterisms disappear. That's Mizar. That's the handle of the dipper. That's the bull. Pointer
Yeah.
sisters, as we call
Yeah.
them.
Yep.
Somewhere
they
up
do.
here, maybe this. Yep, Mirakidubi. And somewhere up here, maybe missed it, unless it's this right here is a North Star. And then here's stars of either Perseus or Cassiopeia are over here. And I'm thinking maybe Perseus.
I think that's Perseus. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm
we've
thinking that's
got,
Perseus.
I think that's one of those. That's Lot 20, if I'm not mistaken. It's not just enough to know what you're taking pictures of. It's enough to know the night sky. And so then that's when it comes to composing a night sky image, you want to go. And now we're going to get into some of these Milky
Before
Way
you
shots.
do, just for a second, Adrian, we have a question and a comment. One of the comments was from Jackie, Nikon Jax. Composite gives you the dynamic range your eyes see that the camera can't cover. You have
And
anything to
I
follow
would
that?
completely agree with that. You said it better than I did, because when I was out there and I saw this little picket fence, this is exactly what I saw. But in order to get that, a composite image helps. Now he also maybe, or she, sorry,
She, yeah.
maybe talking about, she could be talking about HDR, where you take a number of exposures and you combine those exposures to get a final image that matches the dynamic range of what you see. And those of you, I happen to be wearing an Okitex shirt. This is an older image of when you go to truly dark skies, you actually see this. You're not, you can pull a little more detail, but you see this. And so you look at the mesas and the ground, and you see that as you're getting from nautical twilight to astronomical twilight. So you're seeing some of the telescopes are setting up. The sky is slowly darkening over here. The sun's going down. This is southwest over here, and Milky Way is rolling, and you're seeing detail.
Now,
Taking images.
is that the picture that you gave me for your? It looks like the picture you gave me for your promo shot. Is that actually maybe not? There's too many campers around.
Yeah, there are campers. This was my second trip to Okitex, and out there, because of all the detail that you can see in the sky and the sheer number of stars, I'll use this as an example of my evolution of attempting to do composite images and where it's going to end up. I also looked into doing some stacking, and I'll show you an example of that where I decided to come out without a tracker. But again, I guess, honing in on topic of focus, even if, you look here and you say, well, this is a little too sharp or a little, not quite something that you would actually see with your eyes, usually better to err on the side of sharpness than blurriness. Again, depending on what you want to portray. This out at Okitex, this is a real good example of something that I wanted to portray, and I've tried it in a couple different ways. It's an alternate part of the Milky Way that I don't know that it gets shot as much, but you've got sky glow here. You've actually got red sky glow, little green sky glow. And if I zoom in, those of you who image in this region probably know what all of the nebula really are.
Yeah.
Okay, here comes. Yeah, so here's all of this is here. Those of you who image the California, once this pops in, You like the image to California Nebula, you like the image to Pleiades, and you like to do it in a wide field, and you're like, what's this? Part of the reason for making sure you've got your settings down is you find out this is the part of the Milky Way. That's why there's a dust lane, gas.
That's a Taurus dark cloud, isn't it?
Say it again.
That's a Taurus dark cloud.
Right. Here's the whole area. Yeah, because there's Taurus right here.
Yeah, you get right there in Taurus.
Yep.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Now, one of these is Mars. At the time, Mars was actually around like this. There's Mars. There's Aldebaran. So here's the wide angle shot. So you can see this dark cloud here. I think this is what you're referring to here. And there's even more up here. But
now were you using a modified cat? Or were you using the one question I had? Sorry, another one was from our cat was you use a modded camera, and if so, which one? Is it a naked sensor or full spectrum?
It's one that's only had the lower frequencies of red. We call it hydrogen alpha mod. The other filter is still in there. I have a full size Canon 6D, the old Canon 6D that
the regular Mark 1.
That one, which was legendary.
I ended up getting the Mark II. Unfortunately, it had a lot more noise issues than the Mark 1. And that's why it's now what you're watching right now on the camera. That's now it's doing my YouTube show, so it won't be doing any imaging anymore ever.
So these are images, and you saw the other one I shot purely for getting Orion. A lot of times when I shoot images, I just want to capture, and this goes back to the theme that I was starting out with. I just want to capture what I'm seeing with my eyes. I may get a little more detail. Like, here's your Rosette Nebula for all you that love the image of Rosette Nebula compared to the whole rest of the region. That's how small it is. And let's see if this, it's popping in. So what you'll notice eventually, if it,
you're good. We can see it.
Yeah, you can definitely see it.
That's how small it is compared to that whole the rest of this entire region. So there was a lot of activity. That's a meteor. That may be a meteor too, but you've got things crisscrossing here, planes, satellites. There's more than just when you want to do wide image, you've got more than just the satellites to worry about. And look at the quality of the ground. That looks a little more believable, doesn't it? That looks more like what my eyes saw. So over the few years I've been doing this, the goal has been to get better at just seeing what I'm looking at and translating that.
Now, let me also ask.
I do stuff like this.
Let me also ask, as far as so you have a Canon 6D, which is a great a great camera for this type of work. But what type of lens what kind of lens are you using? Are you using a 24 millimeter or a different focal length there, maybe a different, what type of, is it an actual Canon brand, or do you find another brand of lens pairs very well for you to be doing this type of wide field imaging?
So the answer is yes, but the latest answer is it's all Canon right now. I find that the 16-35 f2.8L does a great job. When you lock it in focus, you get some good results. Even in a wide field, you can still zoom in and see a number of things.
Is that your primary go-to lens when you're doing this?
Primary go-to lens. Yes.
Okay. So it's 16-35.
Yep, 16-35 f2.8L. Most of these images, not the moon ones, but most of the images were shot with that lens. You're seeing some moon shots here, and we'll get into that a lot later. But let's keep going with so the evolution of shooting a sharp shot. This image is a good example. It's in the haze. You just saw some of my Okitech shots, and now you're seeing this is at the 35 millimeter version, or zoomed in at 35 millimeter, and I was able to get 2 minutes in the sky. So you're seeing that I'm still struggling with the composite piece of that, because you're seeing this is a little blurry, it's a little fuzzy. That's because I was focusing more on the sky, and it's something that I'm currently working on to improve both. You can see this because we got good focus. The Pipe Nebula's in there somewhere. There's other dark nebula. You can see M23 pretty clearly here. There's M20. It's either M24 or M25. That's M22. There's stars of Sagittarius right here. This is the spout of the teapot.
Yep.
There's M8, and you even see M20.
Yep.
You can see some detail
You
there.
can see it.
And then
Absolutely.
And challenge for those of you who want to shoot Milky Way, try and get it as it's rising, because there's a couple of nebula here, the Lobster Claw and the Cat's Paw Nebula, that are part of the Scorpion. And if even in a locale such as Michigan with haze going on out there, you can still image these. So, it's a challenge. You can get it if you get your focus right. You don't get as much detail on M16, but M17, the Omega, you see a little bit of the shape. And if I were able to zoom in more, I'm using a Google thing, but if you could zoom in a little more, you'd see, the swan, quote unquote, that's a part of it. And then you see these dark nebula here. That's M11, this little phase right here. So
and what's the exposure time on this, Adrian?
This is a 2-minute exposure.
From where?
FWA, tracking, using a tracker from a dark sky park that's losing its dark sky. It's losing its darkness. This is all light pollution from some nearby cities. The Milky Way is rising over that, and it's bad enough you've got haze, but you can still see what we're able to do with a 2-minute exposure with good focus. We don't quite get the Rho Fuyuki complex. That would have taken a lot more frames to pull more of that faint detail and things out that you've seen. This is after only 2 minutes. Sure. And we're still getting, so the sharper the better.
So let me ask a question as far as planning these shots. Do you sit down and do you actually look for that good foreground? How do you plan out where to take these shots from? And is there a way to kind of find photogenic places around where people live to get these nice foreground shots?
So the answer is this is as far away as you can get from where people live. The darker your sky, the more interesting thing you'll get. And case in point, Cloud Bank, Light Pillar, and where it was clear, I'm getting some detail of Orion. So there are people that live to my right if I'm looking out where I was taking this photo. There were ways to correct this curviness here too. This was taken with a Rokinon lens. I generally don't use that lens anymore. I may pull it out and do some experimenting with it. But I go out to places that are dark. I've chosen things that I like to do, like shoot next to a lighthouse. I like shooting over lakes and over bridges, rivers. I like water. And that's why a lot of the images that you're seeing have lighthouses, water. When I go to Okie-Tech, I will shoot just what I see. I'm usually around mesas. Last year, or forest area. And if you saw my show that I did with Dan and Eric last year, you probably saw some of these shots.
Yep.
I'm looking for some Aurora for you, because that is Aurora is something I ran into it. I did not plan. So here's the deal with the couple of stories of planning. I'll start with this shot. First time I saw the Milky Way with detail in it, because in the Upper Peninsula, it's darker in Michigan than it is Lower Peninsula. And I ripped this shot off. This was a 1-minute exposure. I didn't care about this barren land. This was the first time I saw all of this detail. A trick for Milky Way photography: if you capture Altair and Tarazed from Aquila, let's let this load. Look at Barnard's E, and if you see something that looks like an E, you have a pretty sharp shot on the Milky Way. So there are clues that you use. Did you get out? We'll zoom in and see what you got. That was a 14 millimeter lens. I planned to be here at night seeing this Milky Way over there, but I was so mesmerized. By the time I got here, daylight had started.
You got a bunch of questions popping up there, Adrian. So
let's answer.
Eric, you want to grab them?
Yeah. Yep. So we have a few here. One is do you typically stop down your lens from full open? And if so, by how much does it improve your star quality?
I actually don't stop it down. That 16 to 35 shoots all of this that you're seeing on your screen wide open at 2.8.
Oh, that's all.
I
will
stop down. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I will stop down f2 or f1.4 lenses or f1.8 lenses to f2, f2.2. At that point, my goal is to get, as crisp a detail as I can. So you're seeing some Aurora. Let's go to some things I've shot recently and shoot right to that. Where
and while you're doing that, while you're looking for those, one other question is what tool do you use for compositing? Do you use Photoshop? Are you using Starry Landscapes, Sticker, Sequator? What software do you use to do your compositing?
Photoshop and Starry Landscape Stacker.
Okay.
So depending on how I'm shooting for this one, this may not have been a composite. I will also do 30-second shots if I just want a general shot of the area, and I'll process using a combination of Photoshop and Lightroom.
Sure.
And do the best I can, especially on hazy days. If I still decide to go out there and get fooled by the weather, I'll still do the best I can to get some sort of detail. This was a composite. As you can see, the trees didn't make it, but I tried to layer them together in Photoshop. And of course, Adobe products now mask the sky and the ground for you, and they do a pretty good job of masking trees better than they did back when I took that image. So using masking tools, and that's how I do that. So let's go.
On average, how many?
Again.
When you're doing some of these, on average, how many exposures are you stacking?
I end up stacking up to 40.
Okay.
40?
Is that? Yeah. After 40, Starry Sky Stacker or Starry Landscape Stacker tells you you're pretty much getting to a point where it's diminishing returns.
Sure.
We're going to shoot all the way to one where I stacked. So compare this. Well, the Milky Way isn't as bright in the Cygnus region, but this is essentially what I saw. And this is one of the last images I've taken recently. We've had a lot of snow. and I'm able to mask the ground, bring up shadows. I'm able to mask the sky, darken it a bit, contrast, but not too much. Even this light from a distant town was there compared to the way I used to try and do it. If we scroll endlessly through all these, I've got earlier images that I took at that same area, and we're going to find it because we have to. It wasn't there. We learned from the way we tried to process things in the past. We were Milky Way heavy. You know, all I cared about was, do I have a good Milky Way photo? Here is an older image, and you can see a difference. You see a pretty big difference in this one. Didn't turn out too bad, but look at how this nebula shows up. It's still usable, but you know, it was hammered pretty hard on the noise reduction. And then this was moonrise. It was pretty cool. Tried to capture that. Here's a shot. The bridge it's similar to there's that tree. It's similar to what I showed later. I am hearing an echo, so if I pause, it's me readjusting to hearing the echo and pushing forward. So as you can see here, there was a lot more snow, and there's a part of the Asable River, which is northern lower Michigan. Beautiful place, but I really tried to overdo it with detail in the Milky Way, so it resulted in either exaggerated sky glow or colors that, you know, you don't really see real life. And I know we've got more questions. I'll be happy to answer those. Comparing it to this image, which to me, I call a true color image. Now, what was the difference? I had my modified camera and I came to take the photo, and I wanted to overdo how the Milky Way looked and, you know, produce the image. I had my working camera, I'll call it. That's a Sony A7R4, and I used a 24f1.4. There's f1.8. It's one of those. I used one of those lenses. I went ahead and I opened up the exposure so I could take, you know, a 10 or 13 second exposure, 24 millimeter, and I took 40 of them, stacked everything together. So the masking came later. You can see Starry Landscape Stacker did a pretty good job of making this look the way that I saw it. And if I zoom in for star quality, if this ever, you can see that there's some halos here. There's some things I could do in processing to correct some of this, but by and large, round stars, of course, is what you want. Same thing with this. This 30-second shot was taken with my modified, and you see I'm working at, there's some noise, so there's some kinks to get out when I do my shorter images. This haze came and covered that part of Cygnus, so I didn't get a chance to rip off a 4-minute exposure like I did here. So 4-minute exposure, not so dark area. There are some places, there's a lot of light pollution.
So let me ask this, because for your foreground, what's your average the average image exposure length you're taking for your foreground? Because you say you're doing maybe an average of the night sky at 2 minutes. So what is usually for your foreground?
I'll match it so that the composite looks more natural. So if I went 2 minutes in on the sky, I'll shut off the tracker and go 2 minutes in on the ground. Same settings, whatever ISO reading I had, whatever f-stop. And, you know, the viewer that asked about stopping down the f-stop and getting sharper stars, it's definitely not a bad idea. It's something else that I'm looking into. The thing with, it's all about light, and you get away with stars looking sharper if you prevent the light from them from coming in as fast. They, it rounds them up. You can say that you're sharpening the starlight, and the crisper your focus, the better. In here, if you notice, I didn't do quite as good a job. Look at the dashes. Your overall image is pleasing, but I missed. I tried going for 4 minutes and I was racing the sky. The sky was literally closing. So did I have good polar alignment? No, because I've got a 4-minute image up here, and we'll images that I'll always be proud of are images where something happens and you're there to capture it. Two things that generally don't go. There's a storm, and the storm clouds are moving, and the Milky Way is showing up. I think, this was a 4-minute image on that Milky Way, and it captured all the bolts that got,
that's amazing.
That were here. And so what did I do? 4 minutes for the ground, and tried to, there's a little bit of wind out there, of course, because this stuff's going on and we're not too far from it. You've got this dash because why? 4 minutes, and the tracker moved that far in the 4 minutes of time, but it was able to render all the lightning bolts that those flashes of light got caught, basically painted themselves into this picture as I was trying to get detail over here for your Milky Way. And I'm looking to see if there's, because ISO 240 seconds f2.8 with my 16 millimeter at ISO 400. And that is what I did with my Sky Tracker, old move, shoot move Sky Tracker, and ended up getting some Milky Way detail. Made this image look a little more, because of the way that I had to blend the two together, it made the image look a little more like what we saw with our naked eyes. Of course, when you're at a deep Bortle 2 or Bortle 1 site, Milky Way just shows up. You see some of this detail. Those of you out there that have observed or imaged at a Bortle 1 site know how that looks. And when it's cloudy and a bank of the stars appear, they shine like jewels through the sky. It's actually amazing. Even if you can't see anything else and you're clouded out, take a picture. This was terrible, but everything else shows you this part of Black Mesa State Park, and all of this cloud cover, the stars come out like jewels. It's a real interesting sight. And
you were mentioning, tips on, how you focus, because we did have some questions here regarding, but your stars look so good, what do you use, or how do you focus, to get such sharp images? Recap that again.
Yeah. The trick for me, if I this was Denver, the trick for me is to aim at a planet or a bright star, manual focus, using like your LCD, your back screen. Zoom in as far as you can, rotate manually your focuser, focus on your lens until you get whatever you're looking at as small and as tight as you can get it. Note the location of your lens. If you take a shot and your stars look nice and round, location. Now, when you rush things like we did here, and you're using a wide angle lens, there may be some stretching, and there's some ways, you take your time to try and fix that. You look at different things like, how did the Lagoon Nebula show up if you're shooting at the core? Back here, everything looks fine. You even see some of this in Ophiuchus. This is a Bortle 3 site. You make sure you've got your focus. You take a test shot at 30 seconds. And then from there, if your 30-second shot looks good and the stars look nice and sharp, or say you take a 20, if you don't have a tracker, you take your 20-second or your 10 or 13-second shot and your stars look sharp, you're at a good starting point. At that point, you manipulate your other, if you're going to stack, you manipulate your aperture and your ISO, you take test shots and you get some detail and you see where you see where you end up. More work on compositing, of course, when you've got phantom power lines.
Are you able to utilize a Batinoff mask with that type?
You can, if you would like. Yes, you can. You could, if you wanted to, you could hook a small computer running using a camera controller and use the EOS Backyard. I've used it a couple times. You use that, I think it's FEWM or Batinoff mask, or pop a Batinoff mask on there. Get a physical one, put it on your lens, zoom in, and tighten it up that way. That is another way I think a lot of people use Batinoff masks. And then, but the key is
now when you say zoom in, I don't want to get it confused. You're meaning zoom in on the actual back of not zoom on the lens itself, but onto the monitor or your LCD on the back of the camera.
Yes, that's exactly. Okay. Yep, that's exactly the case. So, yep, you want to zoom in using you press a button to zoom in 5 times or 10 times. You do that, and then you start messing with your focus to get the star that's in view as tight as you can get it, where you turn it and it's as tight as you can get it.
Gotcha.
And then you see what you end up with.
Yeah.
And
I like this comment here that Greg shared one here as a tip. He was saying after he focuses, he uses gaffer's tape to tape down the focus point to limit its movement.
Yes. Yep. And that's one way to do it. A very good way to do it, because your lens, say you move, you get up and you hike somewhere else and you want to shoot somewhere else. You don't want to think about focus because you acquired it on your first shot. Sure. But if it moves, you lose it. And I had some images where I didn't recheck focus, and I looked at the images and said, this isn't as tight as I can get it. So sure. Yeah, putting it down, using that tape. And this is a site that's not as dark, but that was one of the comments that came in. I forget. I think it was is either 2022 or maybe even 2023. I forget the name of it, but there it is sitting there next to, and this was acquired. So here's an example of why you want that detail. This is a 16 millimeter wide field shot of what I could get of the Milky Way, as the clouds were coming and the haze was coming to steal the sky again. I tend to have a lot of those, but I can zoom in on a 16 millimeter image, and I got lucky and found it that first time. I was like, oh yeah, I remember the comet was in the sky. There's the comet.
Sure.
And you have to be careful of your noise reduction to where you don't super reduce out the comet. I pulled back a little bit. Here's the comet's on the sky. It was near. This LDN is in Hercules. I think Scutum's down here. There's a couple of clusters here. Even though the sky was not at the best of conditions, these dark nebula appeared, largely due to taking the time to make sure the focus was right. And then you can even see all, I think this is a small Sagittarius cloud right here. Parts of, and then know your night sky, and then you can start seeing parts of the sky and start recognizing them and go, okay, so M23, I think M25, M22, the teapot, the back of the teapot right here, the front of the teapot is swallowed up. It's gone, but a couple of other additional stars on the horizon. When you know where you're shooting, you begin to compose. Here's the dark nebula. So there's M11 right there. The wild duck cluster never resolves into stars at a wider angle, but it looks, you see the difference in how it looks compared to the stars that are around here. So for me, it's not even just taking the images and saying they're nice and sharp. You get them sharp enough, you start recognizing deep space objects that people would otherwise image or otherwise observe. So that becomes part of the reward of taking your time and making sure you've got, you know, good enough sharpness in your images and just making sure things are in focus. Because let's just say you're shooting part of an eclipse. If you do that, you might get sunspots without having to have a filter. This was the filter was the cloud cover coming through. You can see, you know, the edge of the moon, and you actually see some of the mountains on the edge of the moon here. And this was all we could get. We didn't get annularity in Michigan, but a well-placed and well-timed shot with something as simple as a wildlife camera, you know, your wildlife kit with your 600 millimeter lens, and I have an A7R4 connected to that wildlife lens, and I shot directly at the sun with no filter. My camera still works, and you just have to be careful if you've got cloud cover. So you risk it when you're doing stuff like this. That sun's pretty bright, and I stop it all the way down. I got all kinds of dust here on the sensor. I think I went and blew it out later. Yeah, it's first contact.
Yeah. So
And
what tracker are you using for all of this?
I'm using the Move, Shoot, Move tracker for things like this. And
that's what actually you know from last time when we had you on, that's what actually got me to get. I did get the Move, Shoot, Moves. You know, when I went, so I could take it to Mexico.
Yeah. It's a good little tracker. It's you up to 4 minutes unguided. Now, I don't know about its guiding capabilities. There are some trackers like Star Adventurer. The Star Adventurers out there getting better and better, and they include a port for your guide, you know, for your guide scope. So if you do that, now you're up to 5 minutes, and you just have to figure out how you're going to composite that to your, you know, if you want to do a ground shot, or you just do wide angle astrophotography with a bigger lens.
Sure.
So, yeah. And so when the moon is out, you can grab your wildlife kit, or you grab your, you grab your other imager, your other cameras, and you work on that. And you try and get a realistic moon image. That's harder for me to do. This was my best attempt at it, moonrise. And this part was still blown out. So those of you in the audience that love doing moonrise shots and tend to get really good moonrise photos, feel free to share with the audience some of the ways that you do it. This doesn't quite work for me. I went too sharp on the moon. Sometimes you can take your composites. You can kind of blow your composites by making your image a little too sharp. You've got these edges here, and it looks like it's placed on top of the cloud. Now it shined through the cloud, but I would have been better off layering this so that it wasn't quite as sharp, and find a way to blend this into the scene the way that our eyes can separate the moon out and see the edges. on it, but it's not quite that defined. Everything works together. This has the appearance. This turned out pretty well. This is close to how I saw it as the moon was rising, and then you had this shining light where the moon was here. And at the size that I use, let's see if that shows up in info. 232 millimeters. ISO 3200 was probably for the the land, the lake here, and the moon would have been shot at a lower, a different setting, so that all that detail comes out.
Yep, gotcha. Yeah, I see it more as you zoom in.
Yeah. So sometimes wanting a lot of detail does get you in trouble. So what do? You just shoot the moon by itself. And this is where I wanted to get to before coming to an end with tips and tricks, and I'm sure there's probably more questions. I'll be happy to answer them. You can get a sharp shot of the moon with your 600 millimeter lens with your camera of choice, and the key is to look at, in this Mare, let me see, Apollo 15 Hadley reel is here. I forget which Mare this is. Moon shooters, please fill this in. It escapes me. It's not Tranquility. Tranquility is over here, and one of these is Serenity.
You got me.
Yep. So
Serenity now. Serenity down.
Yeah, Serenity down. This feature that looks kind of like Italy, and there's a feature up here that looks a little bit like Thor's hammer. And the more those show up in your moon images, the sharper your moon image was. So there's some definition here. Let's wait until this pops out.
There.
Yep. Let's wait till the. So I think this is going to pop out.
So it's Mare Imbrium.
Okay. Yep. Mare Imbrium.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Yep. So I'm waiting to see if this catches up. This was actually a pretty good shot, but I may be wrong.
But and you used this was with a 600 millimeter?
Yes. Let's verify that. F11, boy, the size of the lens did not show up. Did I use a telescope with this?
I do not know.
I may have used a small spotting scope. This feature, it should look a little better than that, but this feature is kind of the Thor's hammer feature in Mare Imbrium. This is sort of the feature that looks a bit like Italy. The sharper and more, or a boot, it looks kind of like a high-heeled boot. The more detail you get with those features, that your image was a little sharper. Your mineral moon version over here. And look what happened. Less detail means I missed. I also, overdid it with saturation, trying to do the mineral moon trick. And those that may not know, somehow our sensors pick up colors that represent elements that are really in these places. Blue's titanium oxide, and all of this rust is iron oxide. Aristarchus, the crater over here, emits a really bright blue color when you push saturation, and that's element that speaks to the elements that are in that part of the moon. So really good mineral moons, unlike this one, really good mineral moons are both sharp, and the detail is done very well without overdoing the colors, but the colors are apparent. This was the blue moon, and I'm pretty sure I used a telescope to, and then I used Photoshop to, turn the blue hue
Yep.
up on all of this. So, I remember we had the blue moon, and I decided to have fun with it.
Blue moon.
Yeah,
Don't
and if
contradict.
I'm not,
Amen. I won't. Don't worry.
the more detail you get, the more the features look like they raise off of the moon. Let's look at that. 600 millimeter. There you go. A sharp image with a 600 millimeter lens on a camera. Again, the more defined those shapes come out, the sharper. So when you're looking at your image, which I've got a couple that I worked on or tried to take, that's my way to tell whether or not I got a pretty sharp image. So here's, if it ever comes in. Yep, there's the feature. There's this raised area on the moon that resembles Thor's hammer. I've gotten some even closer ones, and when I used a refractor, it really showed up even better. Let's move around. You see reels. The more details you see on the moon, the better off you did. Because you come out here, and process your moon images. Of course, you shrink them like this, so you crop them in. And you hit the button, and you're looking at like, that's a pretty good, there's the golden horn. At this stage of the moon growing, waxing gibbous. And then if you want it to be cropped in even more, just do it. When processing, if you want your moon to look more natural, I definitely recommend don't do this.
Yep.
That's
Oh no.
Yeah, don't do that. Take advantage of what you got. You can, if you want to lower the whites a little bit so that you're not, you can see a little more of the shadow. You can drop those. It's still, more natural looking. If you want to add highlights, you're gonna lose your moon, right? And then it's gone. Yep, you can. Yep. So try and take care of highlighting with your settings. ISO 200. The brighter the moon, the less ISO, of course, you need to use. Everyone in the comments is saying, well, yeah, absolutely. That's how I do it. Texture slider. Oh, this was a little bit, you can still see it's a little bit of a miss. You try and use your texture slider to gradually make your, to show the texture that's on the moon without overdoing it. There's the natural straight from the camera look. We move the texture just a little bit, plus 11, plus 16. Still looks like the moon, just, you see detail. It's a little more pronounced. Clarity, be careful with it. And get your moon maybe even close to a similar number to texture, because if you do too much clarity, you now have noise, and you could probably put this on Instagram and get some likes if you feel like it. But there are some regions there that are showing up. The Mare are showing up a whole lot more. This is a real thing here. All of these dark areas that used to be lava flows are a real thing. And truthfully, the stars are out like this. I don't know if any of these stars map to a real star in place here. But
Sorry.
it's you could do this if you want, or if you want a more natural looking moon, be careful if you do this, now you've got the egg filter on it, or
Yeah.
it's just kind of so make your it comes down to decide how you want your image to end up, get an idea of where you want it to go. You want a moon, push your vibrance, your saturation, and now these colors start to come out. And pinks. Don't really want a mineral moon, take them back out. But if you want to kick a little bit of color, this is how our eyes see the moon: black and white, gray. It's actually really dark. It's illuminated by the sun, so all these details are there, but as you can tell, it's dark. But if you add a little vibrance to your moons, it starts to make some of these, the mare stand out, especially Sea of Tranquility stand out. And it actually, you get to a little bit of differences in color. So now the detail of your single handheld shot moon taken with a 600 millimeter lens and your favorite camera of choice starts to take on a realistic look. And especially if you just missed it, the detail here starts to fade. Even though you just miss it, you've got detail, but you don't quite have it nailed in. But you still have a good and passable moonshot. And you say, okay, maybe I'll pull, right to about there. To me, is a natural looking moonshot with a little more detail and just enough texture to give you an idea. A natural moonshot works just fine. And you want to look for, again, in your shot, you want to look for these features in Mare Imbrium. If they stick out, and you did a great job. If they don't stick out, then you weren't quite as sharp. Look at the, look at this. And you want them to stick out a little bit more. You can play around like that a little bit if you want. So you play around in your software tool, tune it to taste. But at best, you want to see these ridges, these highlands, these mountain regions. You want to see all of that, even if it isn't as perfect. In order to get better than this, you got to start looking at either a larger lens that can focus on the moon or a flat out telescope. And so that's where, for moon processing, that's where that comes in. I've done a lot of moon processing, and as you can see, I've tried not only to process the moon in ways like this is a smoke moon. I've tried to process these things in ways that maybe not quite as sharp, but also capturing them with like this. The moon's behind me. You've got a bow over here and some stars. And this was the first time I realized the moon, and this wasn't even a full moon, it can cast, the moon can bring enough light that if there's rain in the distance, you get a moon bow.
Nice.
All you see is a stream of light. You don't pick up the colors. But when you take the image, you notice it's got the same, it's like a daytime rainbow, but cast by the moon. So there are things out there that can surprise you. This was an attempted picture, and all else fails. Sometimes you just go for pretty, and you leave your moon. This I shot at f2.8 here. I got some moonbeams, and then shooting the moon during the day. Just experimenting with different things that you can do. And even shooting at the sun during sunset, and trying to do some cool things with that. So those of you out there that are daytime photographers as well, there are a number of things to explore. I always shoot. This is nautical twilight heading to astronomical twilight. Milky Way was not visible like it tends to be at a dark sky site, but with 124 seconds exposure, this almost one of my better composites. From this distance here, it turned out pretty good. Milky Way starting to show up in the sky with 124 second exposure. I was able to get some of it, this bright white cast coming from Port Huron, and of course the stars. They make or break most of your images. There's nothing wrong with experimenting with moon photos. I do this all the time, and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Try different things and see how they come out. Here you got moon with earth shine in a lake, and I do believe Venus right here. I think Jupiter or Mars was also somewhere in there. Plan out your trip. You look at what's going to be happening in the sky. These were 3 planets here, or 2 planets and the moon, and give it a shot. See what happens. Awesome. There may be a pleasant surprise. So with that, let's just answer a few more questions as I show a couple more images that I was pretty well proud of, like this one.
It looks like a lot of the questions have wrapped up, but unless did you see any there, Dan?
Now, first of all, let me apologize. I have put myself on mute for the past 30 minutes. Not that probably anybody noticed, but I've been going through a sneezing fit for the past 20 minutes. So I apologize that I've been quiet for the past couple of minutes. So if I just drop off, I don't know what it is, but I've been sneezing like a fiend. So
okay. One question we do have from Chris was, have you Adrian, have you used or utilized the app Photo Pills? I think it's a phone app.
Yeah, Photo Pills.
It is. Yeah, Photo Pills, great app for those who utilize it to know when this Milky Way right here is going to rise, and to help frame your shot. I use an astronomy tool. I come from the world of being an astronomer first and photographer second. So the tool I use is Sky Safari Pro, and I use that to determine when things are going to rise in the sky, what time they're going to rise, what direction, and I then map that to wherever I am and see where it takes me. For instance, this was the night that I learned that I wasn't going to easily get the rising Milky Way over Lake Michigan. I'm standing in Lake Michigan right now as I took this photo. So would Photo Pills help? It would. I find that it's more directed towards, here, let me tell you where where these things are going to be in the sky. I look around and go, I know that this is the North American Nebula right here, and that the Pelican barely shows up. I know that somewhere over here, other things that are in the night sky. And so I tend to use an astronomy app. Here's a cool. Those of you that like taking images that look like this, look for this. This is a coat hanger cluster right here. Looks like a coat hanger.
Yeah.
That always shows up. Milky Way
That
photo.
is cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a
part of
great
the joy
shot,
of
man. The
doing this.
composition of that shot is just the way you got that arc just to kind of go over that, the lighthouse
lighthouse.
and the tree.
Yeah.
And the trees see the thing that I like about this photo is that the lighthouse is offset. The tree is like the focal point,
Mhm.
and the lighthouse is a little bit, it's there and you see it, but it's kind of like the tree is in the center. Now I'm also looking at this little streak on the left hand bottom corner over there, and I want to say right to the right of that, and I could be wrong, is
the
Andromeda.
Galaxy.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's Andromeda. Yeah, it looks like Andromeda. Yeah.
but
It's
what?
Andromeda.
Yeah, I thought that was Andromeda. So what is that on the left? What is that?
Left, that's a plane.
It's a plane. Okay.
Yeah. And you know what? If I found the original photo, that would be so easy to just wipe that out.
Yep.
Some of the finished images may or may never be finished. This was another imager there that night. 3 of us were imaging the night sky. And if you want proof, there's the trail of the one imager doing his thing while I've moved over here. So where he's standing is kind of where I was standing when I took. You can kind of see where I was.
Yeah, you can see the tree on the left. It's in the front of the lighthouse now.
Yep, there's the tree. It's in front of the lighthouse. And it's turned out pretty sharp. Was this one of my 2-minute images? Yeah, it was.
That looks like
seconds.
That looks like you got M20 and M8 right there.
M8
looks like. Yeah.
Yep. And that'll eventually shows up. And if you and even better, I pulled out the 85 millimeter lens. Those of you, don't be afraid to do a composite of now. Stop it down. The person that said you should stop it down, that would have helped me make this sharp. Like in this other image, it's nice and sharp. And it was a composite, so I made sure it was nice and sharp. And I worked to line this up. It's one of my better composites, except for this. I've got another one, but here is very believable. It's always tough when you have things sticking up in the sky, and you want your Milky Way to you want everything to be sharp.
Yeah.
Here, I just focused on getting a sharp Milky Way. That's all I wanted. And as soon as that comes in, you're gonna see it. Now you're getting a little more detail in M8, and you're even seeing a dust lane in M20. You're seeing the blue. When you shoot with a larger aperture and you get your focus right. This was a combination of several I think there were 30-second tracked shots because I didn't want the Milky Way to move too far. My total time to take an image came to about 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4, maybe 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, things move pretty quickly in the sky. But we ended up with M22 looking like a globular cluster.
Yeah.
These are a couple of there's another globular cluster here. I think it's near body's window. This is when you do something like this, and you have to decide whether or not you just should have just shot the Milky Way and see what you can get. And look at the butterfly right here.
Yeah.
Look at there's some artifacts here. That's my fault. I can in processing you have to get rid of some of the artifacts. That's Ptolemy's cluster. There's the cat's paw and the lobster claw. Best we could get it out here, in a reasonably dark sky in Michigan. And you've got detail like this, and then let's see how this.
M17 and M16. Yeah.
You can kind of see some of the detail in the nebula now. And I think this is a sharpless object over here. M23. the rounder, and then the more detail. It gives you a binocular view. And the darker the skies, you could actually pick out dark nebula in binoculars as well. So, all of the LDNs, dark nebula that's here. Crazy Horse breaks apart into this dark nebula. You bring it out again, and you're like, okay, now I see the shape. But you come in, and everything just breaks apart. And the sharper, the sharper you get it
together.
Yep, you see it all come together, and you can even see some of the stars in the lagoon. So shoot with an 85 millimeter lens if you want ultimate detail. The wider your aperture, it's kind of like viewing or observing. Wider your aperture, the more light you pull in. You get things sharp like this, the more detail you pull in. You screw up and you don't sharpen your lighthouse, you have a wistful look on your face, and it just says, okay, I'll try it again. I'll try stopping down the aperture and see if I can still get this detail. I can play with other things, like maybe raise the ISO a little bit to compensate for the stop down in aperture. If I'm tracking and I've got good tracking, I can play around, in a different way. 30 seconds, I'm locked in. If I'm getting this level of detail, I've locked in pretty good. It's what you want when you're doing this sort of imaging, and you try a few different things. And so the full wide angle look over here, even got the light coming off because haze is starting to show up.
Yeah.
And this image was the image that ended up in the calendar at my job. They picked it and a couple other night scenes. So that
that's awesome. Thank you. Really, man.
Awesome. Yeah, this is kind of where I am now, and where I'm trying to evolve is more things like this.
More of a mixture of storm chasing and a little bit of mixture of storm chasing and Milky Way.
Milky Way. I would love to do this again. I think Oklahoma is a great place to do that. Anywhere out west where the storms are real severe, and you've got the more opportunities to capture something like this. Stars in the sky, Milky Way in the sky, storm in the sky, all at the same time. I could have stood to make these trees a lot better, but it's part of the process. You see what you got, and you just try different things. Here's a stack. Real quick, so I want my landscape to not look like a composite photo, so I try my hand at stacking some images. And I think this is a stack right here. So the landscape looks a lot more realistic. So there's times and places to try different things. When the night sky is there, I think this may be a stack too. Coming in on there's Andromeda. And if we're lucky, M33 should appear, but I'm not seeing it. There's a double cluster. Heart and Soul didn't show up quite as well. There's M33 right here. My arrow. I always try to find it in. Yep, there it is. If you can find M33 in binoculars, you've got a reasonably dark sky. And then more work on getting more moon detail. If you've got nothing else, use your iPhone to take photos. These are obviously scout shots where I went on out, looked at the sky, and said, man, it would make a great photo. And so I came back out. There's that place. And I came back out and took these photos when it got clear. And so, tape up your lens, or figure out where the point of sharpness is that you want to use, and then trust what you're getting. This image is real colorful. There could be a combination of all sorts of things going on. Sky glow from Canada. I got a sharp, there's sharp stars. This looks similar to what I got when I was out at Okie-Tex, just a little less. The purple, the fact that there's a lot of purple here, means something was going on if I'm using the same settings. And in here, this was a failed. I left this in my list because I said, okay, what did I do wrong here? And decided I'm going to need to fix that, because there should be stars behind these barren trees, not chopped off like that. So, even your not so good shots are all shots that you can build on. I was clearly working on land detail here, and how bad can light pollution get? Well, this bright dome is Cleveland, Ohio, and I am taking the image from Point Pelee in Canada. And across Lake Erie, if you think about where Cleveland is, that's how much light it's taking up. So, I always end with take pictures of the night sky, preserve them, so that not only, you don't always take images to try and win something with them. You take images more of a journalist. You're showing what's out there, and you're sharing it with those that may be interested. And big clusters like the Beehive, and if you see football shaped stars, then you know that you weren't quite on, so you've got some more work to do. Not every image comes out perfect, but it's always a stepping stone for a future image. This happens to face northwest, so it's possible that there may be an image out here where there will be aurora. I'm not much of an aurora chaser. I prefer to get lucky and just happen to catch it, but
sure,
it's just sort of the way it is. So,
well, thank you again,
always
man.
No problem. Keep all you deep sky imagers. There's so much you can do with your deep sky images. You can use some of the same principles, and there's a lot of AI that's out there. As I'll go ahead and stop sharing, there's a lot of AI that's out there that I gotta click this too. Oops.
Yep.
There. Yep.
Yeah,
there's a lot of AI. Yep. And I'm skinny, but that's the way it is.
I got you back.
AI out there that helps you produce the sort of images that you want, whether it's the PixInsight. I don't use PixInsight for the nightscapes, mainly because I find that the tools I have in Photoshop will bring out some details of the sky more without messing with the ground. And that's what I want. Now, for the best sky to ground images, I find that stacking has worked the best. One thing I'll have to do is put that to the test when I go out to someplace like Okie-Tex Star Party, and where it's dark, stack 40 images at 20 seconds, maybe stop down the to stop down the f-stop, the aperture, see what I get, and compare to those 4-minute, 3-minute, 2-minute images where I'm taking in more detail, and compare the two and see, do the stacked images bring out detail, or did the longer exposure bring out detail? And if I want to take advantage of the best of both, I have to stack it in such a way as that I get those long stacks and then still map them to the sky or to the ground underneath and try and do that seamlessly. I'm sure there's a way to do that, and it's another challenge that that I look forward
I'm
to
sure you'll
trying to
find
get.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we do is that's one thing, either, wide field nightscapes or just general deep sky or even planetary, it's the challenges that we love
Mhm.
about, about doing this that just keeps us going, at least for me, I'm sure you may be the same for
I
you,
agree.
it's the challenges and the challenge of improvement. So again, Adrian, thank you so much for hanging out with us and spending time with us and sharing and giving us some really good
Thank you
tips.
for letting me. Yeah, thank you for letting me ramble through the images and kind of talk about, sort of, I guess, my process on how I try and get them, especially the focusing part. Without
Yeah.
focus, you get a bit of a mess, and it's I've taken shots where I had donuts for stars. You don't get as much detail if you got donuts for stars. And
Nope.
deep sky imagers know that, and even those of you that like to do the moon, you got to make sure if you're using autofocus, make sure it locks on. Otherwise, get that tripod out and mount it, and then go that way. So yeah, thanks for.
No, thank you. I
Absolutely.
really want
me
to give a
get
quick
off.
update to everybody about the image of the week contest for this week.
Yes,
Um,
please. I was gonna say something.
for the 26th. So I'm going to share my screen here real quick, and we're going to share our latest our entries rather. So let me go here.
So these are live and they're up for voting now.
Yes, they
Okay.
are. Sorry,
You're becoming a fractal pretty good. Oh, there we go.
yeah, but let me go back here. Thought I had it up here. But no, what I'll do is let me just go back here.
And let's go to the page.
Let's go to the page. Make it easy.
It's in the car.
Yeah. So again, AstroWorld Web, AstroWorldWeb.com/IOTW for our image of the week contest. And again, we had our top 3 choices for the last 3 weeks. Those were Tom's NGC 1333, Thor's Helmet by Abe Jones, and the Christmas Tree Cone and Fur Fox by Dave Schaefer, who took the top 3 spots, who will be moving on to Image of the Month for January. And we do have for the current image of the week, here are our entries. We have the Tadpole Nebula by Chris Fierksen, the Pleiades by Dave Schaefer, and a wide field shot of Orion and the Horsehead Nebula by Nathan Bernard. So we've got 3 votes already in, but again, don't forget to go to astroworldweb.com/IOTW and cast your vote. And the votes will go on, voting will go on until 9:30 this upcoming Friday, 9:30 Eastern, where we will make our announcement. And these 4 images that we've had for the past 4 weeks of January will then be moving on to Image of the Month to see who will be representing, which image is going to represent January for the upcoming 2025 AstroWorld TV calendar. So don't forget to vote.
Nicely nice. There you go. And
Right.
don't forget, there's actually I have it right
Oh,
here.
well.
Don't forget we got so this is the new one. I'm still waiting on the new one, but we got the first run through of the AstroWorld 2024 calendar with everybody who's won the pictures of the month for 2024, right? 23-24, right? So we got a lot of great images in here. And for those of you that have already purchased one, great. If you haven't purchased one, you go to astroworldtelescopes.com and you can buy one and we'll ship it to you and you'll have a nice little calendar. for you.
There
And
you go.
congratulations to Tom Peter. I know he's in the chat for this is the image of the year. The image of the year gets the calendar cover every year. So last year was, I'm going to screw up his name, Panagiotis Giannopoulos with WR134, which was a really, really great image. He got a nice wide field of the tulip and the dolphin. So it was really, really nice. But congratulations to Tom winning picture of the year and also the most pictures of the week at, I believe it was 7. So
Yeah, 7. He was racking them up, man. Tom's doing it. Tom's doing it.
So now we, instead of hating Jason, we all hate Tom now.
We hate Tom.
So we all hate Tom now because he takes such good pictures. And congratulations to Tom. So
you got your process down. That's what's going to happen.
Yep.
You're going to get great images. At this point, it's just point and click.
And no matter what anybody says out there, I don't care what anybody says, you are not going to get a picture like this quality. And this doesn't even do it justice as opposed to the actual fit file. But you will not get a picture like this using a C-Star. And I hate to break it to everybody. You won't do it.
The purpose of the C-Star gives you an idea of the shapes of things, what they look like, color. It's great outreach.
It's a great product, too. It's awesome. But for what it is.
For what it is, and for what its purpose is. For what its purpose is.
Yeah,
it's not.
Any big time astrophotographer from Gary Palmer on down to all of you in the chat will tell them all that you need hours, you need light. It's a combination of long exposures and frames and putting everything together. We talk about noise and getting rid of noise. One of the benefits of doing that is you see actual more detail by getting rid of noise. You all know that, everyone knows that, but it's the reason the process is what it is. And all of the hours that all of you spend with that telescope in the sky, and you hope to be proud of what you end up with. And you hope to be able to look at it. That's and then you got the guys out there. Well, the space telescopes get the best of everything. Why do we even try? Because we love the night sky and we love how these things look, and we want our own interpretation. I do landscape astrophotography because I love showing Earth in as a part of the universe. You all have great astro images because this is for real, and there are things out there bigger than ourselves.
And it goes back to the old saying, when we talk about all this, I'm going to say this is the next revolution in telescopes of this all-in-one type thing where it's, the Origin, the C-Star, the Unistellar, all these ones with the cameras inside, and you don't have to do anything. You can put it on a crooked coffee table and it'll track and everything will be fine. It'll be good because you're taking 10-second images and all this kind of stuff. But you know what? It goes back to the old age saying of, why does a fisherman fish? Why does a rock climber climb rocks? Why do astrophotographers take images of the sky? Because it's all about, and Eric, you alluded to this before, and same with you, Adrian, it's the challenge that comes with it. And, it's, can you actually do it? You know what? If we said, somebody's already taken a picture of that before, I'm not going to do it ever again because someone's done it before.
Yeah, because somebody else has done it.
That's not the point. It's the point is, can you do it? What can you do? Do you get enjoyment and satisfaction out of doing it? And if you do, continue to do it. If you don't, take up badminton. I don't care. But that's the whole thing. Do what you enjoy. And for those of you that are out here watching us and talking about this and enjoying Adrian's pictures and all the rest of the guests that we have on throughout the year, do it yourself because you enjoy it. and that's what you like to do, and you like getting the different pictures, and you're an artist. And I think that's a really important thing to keep in mind.
Preach it, man. Preach it. There it is.
Praise the Lord.
Yeah,
Preach it.
I could, there's some probably in the audience chatting that have won some awards for their work, and they do amazing work, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. The only thing that I would ask of all of us that do this is learn a little bit about that subject. If it wasn't for the night sky, where would you be? And if you live somewhere like Michigan where it's cloudy, you're reprocessing images all winter because you haven't been able to open up your observatory dome, get anything. So, I'll say it like this. I like to take an image. And think to myself, I want to put some respect on what I'm seeing.
Yep.
I don't want to just grab it, run, and go, hee, I got it. I'm going to go make $1 million with this, because you generally don't. You barely make anything.
You make about $3.50, if that much.
Yeah, if that. But,
I'm spending more money than I'm getting.
Yeah. But,
and I got
so you take
to
it.
Feed.
Right. So you say, well, I'll get some likes. I'll get some internet notoriety. I'll do this, I'll do that. There's a difference between gentlemen like yourselves, Eric, Dan, you guys you're running AstroWorld, and it's growing, and it's a labor of love. You love doing it, and all, it's a gathering place. You do it. I think that's for the right reasons, as opposed to, it's not about what you get out of it. It's what you're putting into it. And it's working together. It's because I'm not showing images, I'm pretty much helping you all preach, but that's kind of where we are. We got a world that, will listen to a celebrity before they listen to a subject matter expert on something. So, I always take advantage of soapboxes like this and just say, hey, I encourage you all out there, tell your friends, this stuff in the sky is real. This isn't made up. And, there's lots of things out there larger than all of us. That picture that Eric's got in the back of your
the ghost.
Your screen.
The ghost.
The ghost.
Yeah, the ghost. The ghost catch you there. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
yes,
and
it's
really think about
there.
That name.
It's really there.
It's really there.
This is not fake news. This is a real picture taken a real telescope by a real person. So it's not AI.
Now, is it really? Depending on how, it's not AI, although AI might have been used to sharpen the corners a little bit, and
actually not in that picture.
Clean out the noise.
Not in that picture. AI wasn't even out yet when that picture came out.
This is old school for me.
This is legit. It's a legit picture.
I guess other thing. Some of these images are coming from skies. We've talked about this. They're coming from skies that are not pristine, like some of the places I have to travel just to get to my image. You're getting from Long Island, I'm here down. I'm here. I'm like you. I'm like in Illinois, in the suburbs. So I'm lucky that I have somewhat better skies than Dan and stuff. I'm in Borough 5.
Everybody has better skies than Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm able to pull, I'm able to pull stuff like this off. I'm able to
the only people that don't have better skies than Dan are those parts of the world that have like 24 hours of daylight in the first 6 months and 24 hours of night in the other half. So,
yeah. Well, no, you got Rochester. I think you got to just go.
Rochester's not New York.
It's in New York State.
It's not. That's like
New York State.
That's like no. That's not New York. That's like a different country. It may as well be in Canada. It may, just.
But the sacrifices you got to make to leave the city if you actually want to see more than 10 stars.
Yeah.
There's more stars in Yankee Stadium than there are in the night sky.
And those are on the wall.
Yeah. But you go out there. We drove through there heading to heading to the Bronx, went to taking a game, and I was like, wait, there's it's actually nice out there. Stars, there's wilderness. Didn't think that existed.
Yeah.
Then we saw and smelled the city in the distance and said, oh, here we go. And we pulled right up, overspent for parking at Yankee Stadium, and watched a pretty good game in 2019.
Yeah.
So things have probably changed since then, but
just a little bit. Just a little
that's
bit.
a trip I'd love to, just a little bit, that's a trip I'd love to take again. And maybe we'd stop somewhere in the other country that's not New York City.
Well, if you're ever in
check
New
it out.
York, let me know, and we'll go hang out and have a drink and a good steak, and we'll chill out.
That sounds like a deal. As
See,
we say,
good.
At U of M, we say bet. That's
Bet.
what we'll do. We'll bet. We're gonna have it.
Bet. Well. Here's the thing. So I've been to Chicago now and had 2 good dinners in Chicago. I'm getting ready for my 3rd year in a row to be in Chicago. And Eric and I have yet to meet in New York, with the exception of Neve, which didn't really count. But that was a lot of work. but let me tell you, next time you're in April, I guess, when you're here, we definitely got to hit Long Island and the city and stuff like that. Yeah, you guys, you guys stick around a little bit longer. I'll take some time off of work and hang out with you in Manhattan.
Yeah, that's coming up quickly. It's
oh my God,
I think
it's
I'll
2
be
months
in my new
away.
Position. Yeah, I'll be in my new position at my place of employment. So I'm gonna have some work to do there.
So is this a promotion at your place? Or?
It's a lateral move. It's a move for sanity's sake.
That's good. That's okay.
That's a good move.
I've done that a couple of times and was more happier for it. So
yeah.
So
it starts there. Getting out in the night sky. We've been preaching about it. Getting out in the night sky was always a way of just it's a reset button. I forgot my camera sometimes. I just look up and start doing visual observing.
Yep.
Visual observing, binocular observing. You still leave feeling like you did something, even if you didn't get a chance to capture it because you didn't remember your camera, or you didn't think it was going to be clear that night. But you show up and you look up and you go, wow, it's clear. And I wish I had my camera.
God damn it.
Yeah. Or you say even worse than that, but we'll
I tried to keep it.
We have an idea. Yep.
Well, we do have to do a giveaway tonight before we forget again.
Yes, let's do this.
Let's do the
you know what?
You guys,
you know what?
Do the
because
giveaway.
Let's do the giveaway. Before we call it a night. Because what we got today, we didn't do any last Friday.
We didn't do any last Friday. No, last Wednesday we didn't do anything. No, there was nothing scheduled for a giveaway for last Wednesday. But last Friday we missed the Master of Picks Insight giveaway.
Right.
So
let's knock that out now. Yeah, for sure.
Yes, so we'll do that.
Knock it
let me share my screen here, and we'll do the quick play here. There we go. Desktop capture 2. There we go. So here is the giveaway wheel for Masters of Picks Insight. So we're up to 32. Only 32 entries since we purged the wheel January 1st. We were over 160 people on this wheel. And unfortunately, some of the people kind of just got on the wheel and, never really was very participative in the show. So we purged the wheel this year. It's been 2 years to get some new blood in here. So these are all legit members of people that have been watching the show recently. So this is for a free Masters of Picks Insight workshop. You can use it for any workshop you want. And just remember that if you use it for the one workshop, you get that workshop forever. When there's new updates, next year or next run through, whatever, and that there's a new update for that section, you could watch that repeat for free. So definitely
That's
check it
great.
out. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah.
You know, and you get 3 hours with some of the best people that are Pix Insight ambassadors: Warren Keller, Ron Breacher, and Peter Proul. So I mean, it's really, really cool. So if you're not involved in this giveaway, go to astroweb.com, go into giveaways, and sign up for whichever one you want, and we'll get you on the wheel. So you have a 1 in 32 chance of winning tonight. Here we go. And let me get my masterful pen out so I can write this down so you can get an email. And the winner is, it looks like it's going to be Michael Gibbs. It looks like Michael
Congratulations.
Gibbs, MOP. Awesome. So I'll send you an email, Mike, with a copy to Pete Proul. And what will happen is you'll receive an email from him to tell you how to redeem I think you know the deal already because you've won before. You know the deal. So he'll ask you what workshop you want, and then you'll get it. So it'll be good.
It's a good show. This was a good show. So again, Adrian, thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. It's been really enlightening.
Thank you for having me again.
Oh, we'll have you again. Trust me. You know, we'll make our rounds. You know.
Yep, we'll make that work. It's not often that something comes up where I don't have to throw my astrophysics bowling ball on league night. I totally told them I got more important things to do. Shout out to them because they understood completely. I was like, that's rare. It's usually yelled at. So
you
bowling,
suck. You suck.
Bowling, the only sport where you might not go to work because it was a blizzard, but by 6 p.m. you're trying to get to the bowling center to bowl because all of a sudden the snow's not so bad. So you know, everything else is shut down, but bowling alleys are rocking because everybody plows their way through just to go bowl. So
I used to bowl when I was like 15. I haven't bowled since. You know, I was good at darts and pool, and that's what I did.
So. Well, now you know I'd say you fell in the AstroWorld, and that's a very worthwhile pursuit. Better than bowling. That's why I didn't go bowl tonight.
Well, appreciate you coming down, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you for having me. We'll keep in touch and we'll do it again. And maybe I'll finally wear that Jordan shirt the Jordan baseball shirt I got next time I'm on. So we'll see where I'm at with my imaging.
That sounds great.
Yep. All righty. Well, gentlemen, I actually have to do work now for the company.
I just got an email from somebody, and I don't know if I should say their name because I don't know. I'm not going to say their name.
We'll take it off the air if we have to.
No, somebody wants to know if you're married, single, or available. So Adrian,
that was for me.
That was for Adrian. Not for Eric. We know Eric's married, so Robin would come down the stairs and kill all of us. So
my wife would come in and kill all of us too.
There you go. So there's your answer.
I appreciate.
So we are married men. All three of us.
Yeah. That's why we find peace and happiness in nature and things of life, because we finally took care of that. But thank you to whomever. Very flattering, and hope you like nature and space.
There you go. Awesome. Well, don't forget, we also have our next guest is in 2 weeks. We have Ron Breacher coming down on February 7th, and coincidentally, that's 6 days after my 53rd birthday.
Congratulations.
No, I'm getting old. Can't do it. I'm done. But so February 7th. February 14th is who is the 14th? That was oh shoot. The 21st is Greg Cranclaw is on the 14th, and the 21st is Bob Denny. So and sometime in the next 2 weeks after that, we're going to be having Alan Friedman coming on and talking about solar, which is going to be really awesome as well.
That's
so
gonna be real cool.
Yeah, you don't want to miss any of those shows. They're going to be great. So if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing to us and hitting the bell to know that we're on our, we're putting out some content. And also, if you want to get on our mailing list, feel free to go to astroworldtelescopes.com and wait a couple seconds, and a thing will pop up. It'll say join our newsletter, and I'll get your email, and you'll find out days before what's going on this week in AstroWorld. So definitely do that and get that out. And Adrian, man, it's been a super pleasure having you again. Thanks so much for coming on and showing us. Those photos are really out of control, brother. They're really amazing. They're really good, and you do.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it definitely shows the thought process that you do in composing these photos, and they're really cool. I said that the first time you were on, and it just continues, and it's gotten better over the past year. So great job, man. Really good.
Thank you. Not for the faint of heart. Those places are dark, and the further in the woods you go, the less you're around people. That means you're not around people. You better be ready to survive.
So that being said, have you had any close encounters with any crazy wildlife?
No, I have not. I've heard coyotes close to me and gotten a little uncomfortable with that. I remember one case where the coyote sounded like they were getting closer. They're calling for each other, but then they started getting further and further away. And so, like an arrogant human I was, they made a turn. I said, that's right, human being. You don't want none of this. Whatever you have to say to get yourself comfortable. And you know what? Every single time I'm out there, I'm looking around on the ground and like, okay, if something jumps out here, am I ready? But then I look up and I see the sky, and instantly there's a connection. I'm like, okay, I know where I am. I don't feel so alone anymore. You do it enough times, and just seeing the sky keeps you going. You're like, man, this was a crazy idea. But then you look up and you go, okay, I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm ready.
Now that's when you remember, just within 3 arms lengths, you have that long crowbar in the trunk that's open that you can take and grab at a moment's notice.
What you want to do is you want to park as close to where you're going to image as you can. But if you can't, you got to take stuff with you. The crowbar's got to come with you. Or
a bat.
A bat. Well, let's just say you ought to be able to protect yourself. But remember, another final pro tip is animals hate humans just as much as humans hate animals.
That is true.
So looking them in the eye, even black bears, look them in the eye, they may run. Now, I've been told that brown bears and other, larger, species, if you're near a nest, that's when the bat may not be enough.
Unfortunately, I'm from New York,
running might be an idea,
where things that go boom are well frowned upon. So, if that was a possibility, we could we're bordering on the realm of something that we shouldn't be talking about.
We're all of you out there that do, all of you out there,
be safe.
Be safe. Know your surroundings. I did many, I'm in Michigan. I've done this many a time, by just keeping my eyes open, looking around me, and then realizing, you know what, no one's here. It's just me. And let's enjoy the scenery. Let's not be afraid of it. Get these images. Plenty
And
of
then get
gas
the
in the
hell out
car.
of there.
Yeah, just get out of there. You don't need to stay. Once you get what you're looking for, bid it adieu and then go. So
Bye.
however,
I'm out.
yeah,
Ooses.
and yeah, exactly.
Peace.
So
Thank you and
that's
good
what
night.
everyone does now. All right,
All
gentlemen.
right, so
We've been trying to
we
shut
just do
down for half
final
an hour now.
thoughts. Eric, final thoughts.
Yeah, final thoughts. No, again, thank you everybody. I know we've been going off the rails here for like the past 30 minutes, but still,
That's okay.
thank you again, Adrian. Great to have you on. Great to see you again. Thank you for sharing your expertise and these awesome images. And yeah, don't forget to vote. And for those, on the replay, do us a favor, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, do all that stuff. And when you're on YouTube, after you've watched the show and getting all past this, and you say, all right, fine, like, there it is, there you go. So appreciate it.
Right,
So
they were all right. Just hit
And
the button.
leave some comments. What are things that you take with you when you do night sky imaging?
Yeah, that'll be good. We may be able to get that back over to.
Yeah, I could always use more ideas.
Awesome.
There you go.
Awesome. We'll forward
All
those
right.
to you if we get any comments. So we'll
Awesome.
definitely throw them to you. I have your email. So now that my email's working, but thank you again, Adrian. Appreciate it so much. Do you have any final thoughts for the group before we go?
Yes, get out there and enjoy the night sky. And obviously, lots of light pollution and more sources of it are happening. So get out, enjoy the night sky. Take your kids, find some place safe when you start. You can go into unsafe places later if you get to the advanced boss level. But whatever you do, as the kids grow up, campsites or whatever. Whatever you do, enjoy and appreciate the sky for what it is and see where that leads you. And with that, I'm going to stop blabbing my head off and throw a like, subscribe, comment, and help these gentlemen out because they're bringing you the night sky in all its forms. And we all appreciate it. So keep looking up.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the kind words, Adrian, and we'll definitely have you back in the future. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. But everybody, don't forget, our next guest again is Ron Breacher on the 7th. Come check us out, and remember, as always, to keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you in 2 days for Picture of the Week.
See you on Friday, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.